Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Ernst, and man, what an awesome day today. We got through Thanksgiving. We survived. Black Friday, done. Now, we'll call this Health Saturday. I don't know, I'm coming up with it myself. This is a day for your health. This is a day for your healing. This is a day to celebrate the freedom that you have to be able to heal yourself. And, our tagline for the show is pounds are shed, disease is dead. You can be set free when you heal yourself. So we're going to talk today about something new. This has recently been discussed in the holistic health field. It's this concept of, do you have a leaky brain? And before you start thinking like, oh, God, this sounds terrible. I'm not talking about the kind of leaks where you have like cerebral spinal fluid leaking around or a hydrocephaly or increased cranial pressure. Surgeon sticks a shunt up there and now you leak your brain fluids into your stomach. While you might think that sounds weird, that actually does happen, just so you know. We're talking today about this new condition called a leaky brain, and I wonder if you have a leaky brain. What are the symptoms of a leaky brain? Well, they include the following. Brain fog. Gosh, you know how many people have that right now? Man, I just can't seem to it's just like it's not right all there. Like I wish I had more focus and etc. Dizziness and vertigo. Whoo! We just opened a can of worms. There's a lot of people who deal with dizziness and vertigo. Irritability. Whew. When somebody passes you off and you're like, and all you want to do is just rip people to shreds. Well, irritability, depression, woe is me, right? Oh, if only so-and-so would have done this, or if only this would have happened, if only. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but the if only phrase, man, you're living in the past. Depression is a past. We're stuck on something that happened and we can't get over it. We can't heal from some injury. I know some people who are like, my so-and-so did this to me. Really? When? Well, it was 30 years ago. Oh my God. Well, have you talked to them since? Nope, because I can't let go of it. But they'll never say that. They'll just say, he doesn't like me, or they never change, or they no. Everything's always about someone else when you're depressed, because it's hard to look inward on yourself and say, oh my God, I've been stuck on this thought for 30 years. I need to let that go. Was that a bleep by itself? I think it was. Depression, we talked about that. Anxiety, this is a big deal. Anxiety is getting stuck in the future. What if? Well, what if? And I love working with someone who's highly anxious because they're always like, what if something goes wrong? And I'm like, hey, what if something goes right? And you see the look on their face. They're like, what? Well, what if I get struck by lightning? What if you win the lottery today? Well, never thought of that. Well, then take your what ifs and turn them positive, and then your anxiety disappears. Now I'm actually anxious for a good reason. Can't wait to win the lottery today. Concentration problems, memory issues, fatigue, migraine headaches. Then it goes into the longer-term issues. If you have any of the following, ADD, ADHD, if you're an adult taking Ritalin or Adderall, wake up, your brain's leaking. If you have a child who's autistic or they have some sort of spectral disorders, their brain is leaking. Seizures, mental health disorders, multiple sclerosis, peripheral neuropathy, neurodegeneration, cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and dementia. And guys, that's from the research. This isn't me just sitting here on a Saturday going, I'm going to tell everybody all this stuff is from a leaky brain. Nope. Research. What exactly is a leaky brain? Well, here's the challenge. It's not you leaking brain fluid out of your brain into your body. That's actually very dangerous and can kill you if we don't solve that quickly. It's not having too much pressure in your brain, increased intracranial pressures, where a doctor says, well, you know what we're going to do? This balloon's filling up with fluid. Let's just pop a hole in it and let it drain by itself. Yes, it brings it down, but it doesn't always solve why was it happening in the first place. A leaky brain is this. Just like we talk about a gut that leaks, where there's stool and viruses and bacteria and stuff going out of the body into the blood, back in, and being reabsorbed and causing problems. A leaky brain is when your blood-brain barrier, which is this very tight network of capillaries and arteries and vessels in your brain that keeps all the crud from getting into your brain tissues, well, when that thing starts to leak, the blood-brain barrier is comprised of something called an endothelial capillary cell held together by tight junctions. And these junctions look a lot like the ones in your gut, The difference is if you had, say, like a toxin in your blood that would make you neurodegeneratively sick, if that toxin leaks through, it gets into the brain and the brain goes, and it can kill it. Some of the most common ones that cause huge problems for us, heavy metals, mercury, lead, aluminum, thallium, arsenic, etc., biotoxins, mold, and fungus, yeast. I know it's gross, isn't it? I mean, I might have yeast in my head. Well, some people do. Mold, even more people have that. And then viruses and parasites and all kinds of critters. Okay, Lyme is a huge one. Lyme, L-Y-M-E, not lime like that you squirt onto your food. L-Y, Lyme is a parasite. It's technically a bacteria, but it's also a parasite. It can squeak its way through that blood-brain barrier and cause issues. And then I hate to say it, a lot of medications are actually designed to get across the blood-brain barrier. 2 proteins that you need to know about. Zonulin. Okay, this is a gut check to see if anybody's been paying attention. Zonulin is a protein I talk a lot about because it's the marker that we can look for to see if your gut's leaking. Well, it has a neighboring cousin called occludin, O-C-C-L-U-D-I-N. Well, this is the protein that is discovered if your brain is leaking. Now, not that many people talk about this. In fact, I only really learned about this about maybe 6 months ago when I was at a functional medicine conference, and they said, hey, guess what? The gut is the second brain, and it can leak. So some brilliant scientists went like this, I wonder if the first brain can leak. And then they said, well, the only thing that it could leak with is blood, because you don't have, thankfully, you don't have stool flowing around up here. So blood could leak, lymph can leak. So they went, I wonder if these barriers can leak. And they started doing studies and realized, oh my God, it can leak. And then we have these health issues that your doctors are clueless to. So make sure you pay attention today as I talk about how to get rid of this thing called brain leak, which there's a high chance you have. And listen, you need to register for my seminar next Saturday, December 5th, 10 a.m. What am I doing? I'm going to show you how to heal yourself. It's super easy, 704-906-2094. The number again, 704-906-2094. Call, text, send us a mail if you have to. Register. Hey, guys, we'll be right back.
People are the heart of Jordan Essentials, and our products are the cornerstone. 100% of the population needs skincare in some shape or form, and of course there's a lot to choose from. So what makes Jordan Essentials different? We often like to say it's what we don't put in our products. We avoid harmful chemicals and pack our products with natural, botanical, beneficial solutions for you and your family.
Greetings, it's Todd, the founder of Dry Farm Wines. The most common question we get from wine drinkers: how is it that your wines are sugar-free? Well, here's the story. Wine grapes are full of sugar at harvest. Sugar is needed for fermentation, where yeast feed on it to transform that sugar into alcohol. The yeast keep eating the sugar until there isn't any left, and the yeast die naturally, which completes fermentation. The result is a dry, sugar-free wine. That's how natural wines we source are made. However, most wines are not made that way. Commercial winemakers often stop fermentation prematurely by adding sulfur dioxide to the wine to kill the yeast, leaving residual sugar behind in their wines. Commercial winemakers do this all the time. We only source and drink fully fermented wines with less than 1 gram per liter of sugar. And statistically, that's sugar-free. And the only way to really know if a wine is sugar-free is to lab test it. And that's why Dry Farm Wines lab test every wine to ensure it is sugar-free.
Here's a secret your grocery store does not want you to know. At ThriveMarket.com, get up to 50% off all your organic groceries delivered to your door for free. Shop organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, and paleo. And get a free jar of coconut oil. Thrive Market. Wholesome products, wholesale prices. Get your free coconut oil today only at ThriveMarket.com.
Happy Saturday. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. Yes, it's the show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you can be set free from your health problems. Yes, my name is Dr. Aaron Ernst, and I just want to say, first of all, thanks for tuning in today. I don't know if you guys understand the importance of today's topic, but our brains are leaking, according to some recent research that's been coming out. If you think about it, your brain is one of the most important organs you have in your body. In fact, it's more important than your lungs. It's more important than your heart. More important than anything else, because no organ can work without your brain sending electric signals down the spinal cord over the nerves to get into your body. And in the chiropractic world, a lot of chiropractic doctors will say, if your spine's out of alignment, nerves are interfered, and your body doesn't work. And that's true. There's a lot of truth behind that. This is why chiropractors often take people who have been to every major physician with no results, start working on their spine, and all of a sudden, bam, blood pressure's down, and sugars are improving, and headaches are going away, and back pain is cleared, and the patients would be like, "You're a miracle worker." Well, actually, they're just letting your body heal by themselves. But now what happens if the brain itself isn't working? Well, now we have a bigger problem, because there's nothing that tells the brain what to do other than the brain itself. It's auto-generating. It has the ability to think by itself, and we're still kind of, awe-inspired about that. Man, how did you do that? How'd you come up with that thought? How'd you move your finger? Well, we know that you send a signal through, but how'd you start the first signal? Like, this is all areas of unknown, right now at least. Maybe in the future we'll figure it out. But you want to think of your brain as the command center for your entire body. So if your brain is leaking, then every square inch of you can have a problem. Brain cells require a specific supply of energy from the blood that flows up through the vessels of your neck to get in here. And so it feeds you. 20% of your oxygen is used by your brain. 25% of your sugar is used by your brain. And the brain is the one organ that you can't remove. Well, actually, there are several organs you can't remove, but you understand my concept with it. You remove your brain and you're done. Okay, there's no brain transplants yet. Okay, so we don't want the brain to leak. Well, how does the brain start leaking? Well, first of all, what happens is there's damage to the tight junctions between the blood flow and the brain itself. So the cells are supposed to be so tight, they only let the good through. Just like in your intestines, the barrier protects you from the viruses, bacteria, parasites, toxins, stool, and waste from getting in. It's a known fact that you can leak in your gut and cause major health issues. Well, now research is saying, hey, it's a known fact that you can leak in your brain. A protein called occludin, O-C-C-L-U-D-I-N, holds those vessels together tight. And if you have an antibody against the occludin, then we would say your brain is leaking. So we can actually look for occludin and zonulin antibodies. Now, here we go. Ready? They've also discovered, this is recent, and I'm sharing something with you that I don't think anybody's going to ever share with you, ever. microRNA-155 is a molecule that can be detected with blood testing, And if it's present, it indicates a specific amount of inflammation taking place inside those little tiny gaps between the blood-brain barrier and your brain. Why is this a big deal? Inflammation can happen when certain chemicals and toxins get into the brain, because the brain's like, hey, man, I'm supposed to have nothing but good, clean food, lots of nice air, oxygen, and I need my micronutrients. I need sugars, I need ketones, and I need vitamins and minerals, and that's it. Nothing else. Mercury gets in there, inflammation. Mold gets in there, inflammation. You get junk in your brain gets inflamed. And here's the deal. I'm not talking about acutely like, oh man, I got a headache. I'm talking about chronic inflammation of the brain. Chronic inflammation does not go away. It's like having a repeated constant trigger going on at all times. It creates inflammation. This can lead to health problems, and ultimately it can lead to neurodegeneration. Research has connected breakdown of the blood-brain barrier with various conditions like brain fog, dizziness, irritability, anxiety, depression, concentration issues, memory problems. And some of you might be like, Dr. Ernst, you spoke way too fast. Well, then you got a brain leak, because if you can't understand pretty quick information coming at you, it's a sign of your cognition ability, not your smartness, just your cognitive, I'll call it resonance, the ability for you to comprehend quickly degrades. So if I said to you this sentence, cognitive decline, dementia, neurodegenerative disorders, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, MS, peripheral neuropathy, ADD, ADHD, autism, seizures, mental health issues, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, and you went, too fast. Well, you probably have a brain leak. What is one of the biggest causes of brain leaks? Here we go. Type 3 diabetes. What? There's a type 3? Okay, I've talked about this multiple times before, but your brain needs sugar. And when you build a level of insulin resistance within the brain itself, the only way that happens is if there's a leak present. If your diet is high in refined sugars and processed carbohydrates, but low in vegetables, low in brain fats, low in brain nutrients, you're going to create inflammation, and that can lead to a breakdown of the barrier in the brain. Now, usually that's the last area to leak. So I hate to say this, but those of you who have brain leaks, everything else is leaking. Your joints are leaking, your gut is leaking, your liver's leaking, your intestines are leaking, everything's leaking, and then your brain says, I can't take it anymore, I'm going to leak. Usually what we see is a level of dysbiosis or a leaky gut first. And when that's not taken care of, it spreads and it causes the brain to leak. I think you've already heard, if you've been listening to my show, there is a strong connection between your gut health and your health. But now there's an even stronger connection between your gut health and your brain health. Your gut is your second brain. It has its own nerve system called an enteric system, which is an extension of the parasympathetics and the sympathetics that come from your brain. The vagus nerve, which is the wandering communicative nerve, is actually a cranial nerve, meaning it comes out before your spinal system, comes out of the back of your skull, goes down your throat and into your guts. And if you have a communication issue between your two brains, brain number 1, skull brain, brain number 2, gut brain, the chronic inflammation between the two of those creates havoc on your health. So what do we see first? We see gut infections. We see recurrent urinary tract infections. We see constipation, diarrhea, dysbiosis, health issues, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, sugars are off balance, you name it. And it's this cascade that leads to your brain just going, I quit. One of the biggest stressors today for your mind is toxins. And I'm not just talking about, like pesticides and herbicides, but like all the crud you put onto your body. So if you think about it, if you're using like, say, shampoo and conditioners that have parabens and triclocans and pegs and dioxins and blah, 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 all those big ones, where do we put them? Right onto our head. And we massage them into our scalp, and our scalp absorbs them, and they go directly into our bloodstream, and they go up into our brain. Well, see, God was like, man, I knew you were going to do this. I knew you were going to mess it up, so I'm going to make that barrier so tight. So it can protect you in the initial stages, but because the brain is protected, well, it's still flowing through, and the gut's like, I can't do this. It's so much. The liver's like, we're already dealing with yesterday's lunch, which was from fried this and battered that and boxed this, and I'm working overtime. In fact, half our enzymes are on strike. They went, we quit. This person doesn't know how to eat. We're done. We're not doing this anymore. The gallbladder's like, me too, man. I'm out. I'm shutting her down. I'm letting it fill up, and the doctors go, we should take that out. In their infinite wisdom, you don't need it, so we'll take it out. And then they're like, well, your numbers are all over the place, so let's give you this medication, which will make your numbers look good. But then what does the med do? It's toxic. It causes you to leak more. Do you see where I'm going with this? So we've been going to our doctors for years going, please, God, help me. Please give me another drug. We take it, and we're like, ooh, it worked. But then the gut just went further leak. And then down the line, when we're 40, 50, 60, 14 meds deep, we've been eating that bad, that diet of like, a 20-year-old. I mean, there's a period of time where you need to go off diet. I get it, right? It's kind of like drinking. Okay, you can't have alcohol till you're 21, so what do? I'm 21, so I'm going to wreck my liver to shreds just so I can do it because you told me I couldn't. I'm going to. You're not supposed to eat corn, sugar, wheat, rice, soy, oats, fried foods. So what do we do to our kids, right? We tell them, don't eat all this. No, see, you guys say, oh, it's totally fine, eat it. So then what do? They go rogue by going like this. I'm going to juice fast. I'm going to go on a, paleo diet. I'm going to revolt against eating processed foods. It happens. You wake up at some point and you're like, I'm sick of being sick. Tired of being tired. Well, then what happens is you start detoxing and man, the floodgates open and you're like, I don't feel good. When I eat McDonald's, I feel great. But when I eat that spinach salad, I feel terrible. Well, it's a sign your brain's leaking. Toxins are all around us. Our air's polluted, our water's polluted, our food's polluted, everything's polluted. Indoor spaces, outdoor spaces, plastic products, conventional beauty products, household products, you name it. Heck, even the clothing you're wearing's toxic. Neurotoxins, glutamate, nitric oxides, Botox. Oh my God, please tell me you're not Botoxing your body. Hugely toxic. Botulinum toxin. Even the name has toxin inside of it. What'd you do today? Well, I went to the med spa and I had toxins injected into my face and I look great. What? Sorry. Leads to all kinds of health issues, okay? We've already talked about that. Where do a lot of these metals and these toxins come from? Well, it's the food you eat, it's the water you drink, it's the air you breathe, it's the products you put inside of you. But now comes the big boys, the big ones. What causes your brain to leak more than anything else? Vaccines. They're loaded. Polyethylene glycols, formaldehydes, polysorbates, formaldehydes, metals. Ugh. If you were to read the ingredients of your local flu shot, and I was to ask you to put it together as a soup and eat it, you wouldn't do it. I hate to say it, but listen to this. Aluminum hydroxide, aluminum phosphate, and other nanoparticles have been in flu shots since 1920. Aluminum is now the more common heavy metal to be found because so many people were like, hey, mercury is really, really bad. If you guys break open one of those mercury bulbs, the label says, shut it down, get out of the house, hold your breath, call OSHA. They come in with these massive vacuums, and it's considered a biohazard. Well, it's totally safe because we inject it into your arm. Okay, so a lot of people are now saying, I don't want mercury in my vaccine. So guess what the pharmaceutical companies did? Okay, we're removing mercury. It's mercury-free. You all jump for joy. You're happy, but guess what? They just use aluminum instead. Aluminum is a known neurotoxin. It can cause what's known as aluminum adjunctive nanoparticles, an AAN, to develop within the brain. They're now connecting AANs with Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, all main neurological degeneration diseases have these AANs in their brain. What your doctor will call them is plaques, neurotangles, neurofibrils, or neural plaques, but it's just aluminum in the brain. So we got a long way to go to solve this, how to create a non-leaky brain when we come back. But hey, listen, 2 weeks. No, I'm sorry. Next week, the 5th. Oh my God, it's right around the corner. I'm hosting a webinar where I'd love to show you how to not only get rid of a leaky brain, but heal your body from whatever you're dealing with. 704-906-2094. Please call it or text it and register. It's free. 10 a.m., December 5th, 704-906-2094. It's the Ask Dr. Aaron Show. We'll be right back.
So this is the difference between biodynamic and conventional farming. Let's look at the difference in vineyards here. You have very green grass and herbs and life growing, and then dead soil over here. So this is a conventional vineyard. where they spray pesticides, they use a lot of tractors to pull up the soil. This soil is dead, it's dry. There's no life. This is Klaus's vineyard. It's farmed biodynamically. Everything is picked by hand and they don't use any chemicals. So there's life, there's green grass, everything grows. This is the big disparity between conventional farming and biodynamic farming, and you can see it perfectly side by side. We prefer this wine, of course, because this wine is dead. There's nothing living in it.
Here's a secret your grocery store does not want you to know. At ThriveMarket.com, get up to 50% off all your organic groceries, delivered to your door for free. Shop organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, and paleo. And get a free jar of coconut oil. Thrive Market. Wholesome products, wholesale prices. Get your free coconut oil today only at ThriveMarket.com.
There's about 1 billion soil microorganisms per tablespoon of soil. That's what people don't really understand. There's a tremendous biodiversity below our feet. This is a family farm dating back to the 1820s. It's gone through the generations. My son will be the next caretaker of the property. And I think if, my ancestors would look back at this project, they would be pleased. My father's made the comment that his father would be quite excited to see the farm going back to grass. The health of the soil plays a role in the health of the animal, which plays a role in the health of the human that consumes it, because in grass-fed beef, we produce more omega-3s, we produce more CLAs.
A lot of people have heard from their doctors not to eat beef, and that really only applies to beef that's fed grain. If a cow is fed grass, it's a healthy option.
This whole business of grass-fed beef is a part of the bigger whole. And if you go back to the Great Plains and go back to the buffalo that roamed, they had this thing down to science. And unfortunately, man tried to overmanage Mother Nature, and what you ended up with was a desert. Finally, we're kind of getting back to our senses again.
We're changing this back into a very nutritious grassland. It's very interesting to see the changes we've been making. We soil sample and we can see the results of what we're doing in the samples with organic matters on the rise.
What we're looking at here today is 3 stages of the soil community or the plant community. First stage is we planted this 12 species cover crop, which is suited for this area of the country. Stage 2 of this thing, these animals come along and they have a picnic in here for about 24 hours. We've got 150,000 pounds of animals standing on an acre, which is a lot of weight. Once the cattle come through, then you have the recovery phase, which is stage 3. Right now it looks pretty grim the day after an inch of rain overnight, but you come back here in 30 days and you'll see a perfect, beautiful smorgasbord of green plants again.
Compared to the conventional models, we're very diverse. You're changing your entire soil structure, you're changing the way the livestock are performing. So everything about this is what I would say kind of cutting edge, and it's fun to kind of be on that front edge.
My own grandfather, he's actually written what it was like to be a boy at the age of 14 in 1900. And the most fascinating thing is every day of the year on the table was lard and sourdough bread. I mean, they ate a lot of lard, ate a lot of fat. And he lived to be 99 years and 7 months and never took a pharmaceutical. It's a real simple recipe. Know your food, know your farmer, and go back and think about your great-grandparents.
Welcome back. Happy Saturday. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Ernst. Hey, if you're tuning in through YouTube.com or Facebook.com, Instagram, Twitter, Parler, wherever, we got our live stream camera rolling. This is your opportunity to let us know where you're tuning in from. city and state. If you have a question, it's been kind of quiet, the comment fields. Let's load them up. Let's get up to 100 comments. That'd be great. If you have a question, we have an answer. It'll be natural, holistic, all from a perspective of you becoming your own healer. Our topic of the hour today is a leaky brain. I know it sounds weird, doesn't it? But we know there's a condition called leaky gut. We know your gut is a second brain. So the first brain is your brain, and it can leak too. The unfortunate reality is a lot of us have a leaky brain, but we haven't associated it as that. And because we don't know it's that, we aren't doing anything to fix it. So I'm going to share with you how to fix a leaky brain today. Symptoms of a leaky brain: brain fog, dizziness, irritability, depression, anxiety, concentration difficulties. So if you've already zoned out and you're like, wait, what? Squirrel, dog, cat. If you can't focus for even like 30 seconds, leaky brain. Memory issues, fatigue, migraine headaches. Man, I'm telling you, headaches are a number one source of a brain leak, meaning brain leaks cause headaches. So instead of you taking aspirin, Advil, Maxalt, you name it, let's get your brain to stop leaking and boom, the headaches go away. Major health issues if you've been diagnosed with dementia, neurodegenerative disorder, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, ADD, ADHD, autism, seizures, anxiety, schizophrenia, depression, etc., all caused by a leaky brain. We discussed that what it is it's actually the blood vessel barrier. I'm trying to think of a good word for this because it's hard to tell you the exact name because it gets a little weird if I say, epithelial, endothelial linings of the microglias of the brain, whatever. Okay, so think of it like this. You have blood that flows in your brain, and those vessels can't leak. And I'm not talking about stroke either. I had somebody comment over the last commercial break through a Facebook message to us, said, are you talking about bleeding in the brain? That's the kind of leak that's happening, like as a stroke? No, that is like fully leaky brain. Okay, there's a hole in a vessel and the blood's flowing out. That's an emergency, like emergent emergency. You can have, long-standing neural damage. If you've ever had a TIA or a stroke or anything like that, that would be, again, the downstream effects of a leaky brain. So think of it like if you've already had a stroke, man, your brain has been leaking for a long time. And maybe they can go in and go clip, and they clip the vessel together, but that doesn't stop the microscopic metabolic leaking. Occludin and zonulin are some proteins that you can actually measure to see if you have large amounts of those things in your blood or your urine, your brain's leaking. We also found this thing called microRNA 155, which is a specific blood marker that tells you there's inflammation within the brain. And most of you have a brain leak. I used to have a brain leak. I ran the tests. There they were. And I went, oh, my God, my brain's leaking. So what we want to do is solve this problem. And I need to talk to you about the best ways to get your brain to stop leaking. Okay, numero uno. Occludin and zonulin are produced as a result of inflammation, typically because of the consumptions of dairy and wheat. It also happens with oats, and it also happens with rice and corn and potatoes, but we're just going to focus on the big ones, dairy and wheat. Okay, so if you want your brain to come back, you have to stop eating dairy products. Does it mean yogurt? Yes. Does it mean cheese? Yes. Does it mean anything that comes from cow's dairy? Yes. Sour cream, out. Cheese, I just said that, out. What about kefir? It's dairy, out. Well, it's fermented. Well, so, yeah, good, but out. Dairy, gone. Goodbye. What about, what am I supposed to pour on my cereal? Well, you're not supposed to be eating cereal because the cereals have the grains. So, my God, can you imagine the danger of putting dairy onto wheat? Pizza? It's like a brain bomb. Dr. Ernst, oh my God, like I've been eating pizza my whole life. Well, stop. What am I supposed to do? Don't eat pizza. Have something else. What are my kids supposed to have for breakfast if they can't have their Cheerios with their milk? Eggs? Avocado? Turkey bacon? Real food? Serve them dinner from last night. Oh my God, heaven forbid you should eat non-breakfast foods for breakfast. Make your kids fast. Whoa. Okay, so here's the deal. Wheat creates leak in the gut. We know it. It creates the inflammation of the zonulin. Occludin can also rise. Well, Dr. Ernst, I thought you said the brain was leaking. Why are you going after the gut? Watch. When the gut leaks, zonulin goes up. The zonulin makes the brain leak because zonulin spreads the cells apart. The more zonulin, the more occludin, the more your brain leaks. but it's really hard to get a brain to leak. I want you to think of it like this. An egg is pretty easy to crack, right? The shell, pretty, I mean, it's not, ironclad, but certain types of eggs are harder to crack. Like an ostrich egg, and I think I've seen, you have to like saw it open with a hacksaw. It's still an egg, but think of it like this. Your gut is a real thin egg membrane. Your brain is a thicker egg membrane, but you can still get into it if you work hard enough at it. So if you keep chiseling away your brain membranes with zonulin and occludin because you eat dairy and wheat, eventually brain leaks. So what do you think step number 1 is to get your brain to stop leaking? Stop poisoning your food. Stop eating wheat and dairy, and you'll start to get it better. Well, Dr. Ernst, oh my God, how long am I supposed to stop eating wheat? I'm going to tell you it should be for the rest of your life, but it's basically this. Stop eating wheat for as long as you want your brain to not leak, and as long as you want your gut to be healthy. Well, when can I ever have a sandwich? Well, see, you're jumping to a conclusion that sandwiches can only be made on wheat bread. Well, no. When can I have bread again? Well, you can have bread that's not wheat-based. Well, when can I have wheat again? Why are you so hell-bent on having wheat? Well, I like it. Well, it's killing you. Well, I want to eat it. See, it's this struggle that we have, right? Well, go ahead and do it then. Well, I want to be healthy. Oh, don't you see the problem? It's like saying this. Hey, doc, here's what I want. I want to lose 50 pounds, but I want to eat candy and cakes and cookies a day. How does that happen? Make it work. Well, I can't. Well, you're a doctor. Can't you make it work? Isn't there some pill I could take? Well, I mean, there is, but it's going to cause more problems. Well, that's what I want. I want to eat whatever I want. I don't want to take a pill and not feel it. Well, Dr. Ernst, that's not me. Oh, really? Look at the Tagamet commercials. Eat whatever you want. Take this pill and you won't feel the heartburn. Guys, you're doing it. Trust me. You're taking aspirin, Advil, Tylenol, goodies, powders, medications, and you want to not have to change your life. A mentor of mine said this, a prescription is really just a permission slip for you to do whatever you want and not have to deal with the cause. So here's what I'm going to offer to you. A step-by-step protocol on how to get rid of a brain leak when we come back from this next commercial break. I'm also going to offer you the chance right now to join me next Saturday, the 5th at 10 a.m. If you tell me what you want to heal from, I'll show you how to do it. Like that. Private webinar for you and whoever wants to join us, but you have to call this number, 704-906-2094. 704-906-2094. Call it, text it, whatever it takes, so you can get in and I can help you to heal yourself. It's the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. The best is yet to come. How to heal a leaky brain. We'll be right back.
Greetings, it's Todd, the founder of Dry Farm Wines. The most common question we get from wine drinkers: how is it that your wines are sugar-free? Well, here's the story. Wine grapes are full of sugar at harvest. Sugar is needed for fermentation, where yeast feed on it to transform that sugar into alcohol. The yeast keep eating the sugar until there isn't any left, and the yeast die naturally, which completes fermentation. The result is a dry, sugar-free wine. That's how natural wines we source are made. However, most wines are not made that way. Commercial winemakers often stop fermentation prematurely by adding sulfur dioxide to the wine to kill the yeast, leaving residual sugar behind in their wines. Commercial winemakers do this all the time. We only source and drink fully fermented wines with less than 1 gram per liter of sugar. And statistically, that's sugar-free. And the only way to really know if a wine is sugar-free is to lab test it. And that's why Dry Farm Wines lab test every wine to ensure it is sugar-free.
Here's a secret your grocery store does not want you to know. At thrivemarket.com, get up to 50% off all your organic groceries delivered to your door for free. Shop organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, and paleo. And get a free jar of coconut oil. Thrive Market. Wholesome products, wholesale prices. Get your free coconut oil today only at thrivemarket.com.
People are the heart of Jordan Essentials, and our products are the cornerstone. 100% of the population needs skincare in some shape or form, and of course there's a lot to choose from. So what makes Jordan Essentials different? We often like to say it's what we don't put in our products. We avoid harmful chemicals and pack our products with natural, botanical, beneficial solutions for you and your family.
Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. Hey, you guys are listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. We're broadcasting through the airways, 1110, 993 FM, 1110 AM, 993 FM, WBT. And we're on the various channels, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Parler. We're also possibly listening to this after hours on iTunes.com, radio.com, WBT.com, maybe even Spotify. Wherever you found us, love that you're here. We're talking today about a condition that is rather new, this concept of something called a leaky brain. And I'm going to just throw this out. There's a really high chance your brain is leaking and you don't know it. And it could be why you have a various health issue that you struggle with. I'm also going to say that we had the biggest amount of registrations happen over the last commercial break. I don't know what happened. I must have said something that made you guys go, let's do it. Let's hop on that webinar. So I'm going to give a little call to action right now. Next Saturday, the 5th of December, I'm going to open up my camera and my computer and my office to you directly. You don't even have to come in. Let's do it virtually. Let's chat about what you have going on with your health. If you register and tell me what you want to heal from, I will show you how to do it using natural, holistic, and alternative techniques. We'll show you what the common causes are functionally. So, for example, okay, diabetes is not caused by a genetic issue. You weren't born diabetic. It's not even caused by your diet. What? I eat too much sugar, Dr. Ernst. Well, if you cut back, do your sugars go down? Well, no, it's because I have diabetes. Well, yes, but what's causing it? Well, I don't know. Then join me for the webinar. There's 3 causes of diabetes. I teased a little bit earlier. 3 things. Maybe you have one, maybe you have all 3. Fix them, boom, diabetes gone. Seen it in as little as 90 days. High blood pressure. Guess what? Similar process. Well, when I take my meds, my numbers are good. Well, good for you, but stop them. Well, I would never do that because they would go back up. Oh, so have your medications healed you? Well, no, they're managing my condition. I'm very happy. My doctors are happy. So if they're happy, I'm happy. Hey, I don't think you want to be, doctor happy. Many, many, many people who take medications and have really good numbers still have major health effects, okay? Just because you make a number look good doesn't mean you're healthy. What if I could show you a way to get off the blood pressure pills? I've seen it happen in as little as 2 weeks. You got to find out what's the cause. So here's what I want you to do. Pick up the phone, and I'm going to do this real slow-like because some of you may have a leaky brain and you have a hard time hearing the numbers. 704-906-2094. 704-906-2094. Once again, 704-906-2094. If you call it right now, my team is going to say, hey, thanks for calling. Would you like to register? Name, phone number, email. Done. If you don't want to talk to someone, text it, your name and your email. And what are we doing? You're registering to attend the webinar for free from your house. And then you're going to fill out a little tiny survey. Guys, it's simple. 5 questions. So easy. What's going on with your health? What does your doctor say caused it? What do you think's causing it? Would you like to get rid of it? And how motivated are you? Are you I need more info, or are you like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it? What kind of person are you? And then I will custom create the series of the webinar to you. That's right. So I'm even going to say this. Hey, Mary emailed over and she wants to get rid of psoriasis. So Mary, here's how you do that. Or John wants to get rid of his cholesterol, wants to come back to normal. So here's what we are going to do for John today. So I just need to see who's coming on. 704-906-2094. Okay, so we have this issue called a leaky brain. It's been studied in science. It exists. We know it's present. We have some biomarkers for it now. The challenge is, I guarantee you, if you walk to your doctor this week, next week, the following week, and you say, hey, doc, I was listening to this radio show, and they said there's a condition called leaky brain and that there's some tests you can run to look for it. I want you to do my occludin. I want you to do my zonulin. I want you to do my mRNA 155. That physician is more than likely going to look at you and go, what do you want now? Leaky brain? No. Even if you talk about a leaky gut to most physicians, they're like, a leaky what? Oh, that's just, that's a made-up term. You know, like, there's no ICD-10 for this. Well, actually, there is. It's just they've never investigated it. Well, there's no prescription drug that can fix it. That's right, because it's not caused by a lack of prescription drugs. You know, if you think about it, the only thing that a prescription can fix is if you have a lack of that prescription. So, like, if you're deficient in Crestor, for example, and that's why your cholesterol is high, take Crestor and your cholesterol will be restored. Makes sense, doesn't it? It's kind of like if your vitamin D is low, you don't take vitamin B to fix vitamin D. You take D to fix the deficiency of D. The only problem is none of you are deficient in your medications. You weren't born without lisinopril for your high blood pressure control. It just doesn't work like that. But that's what they want you to believe. So how do we make our brains less leaky and get our mind and our focus and our attention back? Number one, we got to stop destroying our mind with the foods we eat. So we talked about wheat. We talked about dairy. They're out. Man, I'm just sorry, they're out. But next we have to talk about the kinds of sugars that you eat. Pro-inflammatory foods make the gut leak first, and then they make the brain leak afterwards. And I'm sure you've heard the phrase, you are what you eat. But remember, not only are you what you eat, but your food is what they ate. And if they are sick, you will be sick. An anti-inflammatory diet is the kind of diet that helps to decrease the damage from toxins and processed foods, carbohydrates that are poisonous, and various other chemicals. So first, you just do this. Cut out everything that is fried, deep fried, processed, refined, made better. So what I mean by that is, if it's in a box and it's coming from a factory, get rid of it. Carbonated beverages, sugary beverages, grain-fed meats, grain-fed proteins, like, vegetarian-fed chickens. I don't know about you, but chickens are supposed to be vegetarian, so we don't need to feed them rice and corn. We just let them eat their own foods. Focus on the following anti-inflammatory foods. Green vegetables. Now, I say the word green because there are vegetables that aren't green, but those aren't those aren't anti-inflammatory. Low glycemic fruits. So most of you need to get rid of all the fruit you eat. And I would say if you want your brain to heal, 3 ounces maximum of berries per day, tops, done, finished. That's like 6 blueberries for the whole day, done. Okay? Lots of herbs, lots of spices, healthy fats, avocados, plants, nuts and seeds, grass-fed proteins, grass-finished. Now we have to get more specific. Wild-caught fish. And here's the next step to healing a leaky brain. We have to let the brain kind of go on an auto reboot. Okay? Brain uses sugar primarily, but it has a backup fuel source called ketone bodies. In this modern day and age where most of you eat so much sugar you could kill a cow, you have to decrease the sugar components to your mind. Even though your brain relies on carbohydrates like glucose for energy, it has a backup. It has this ability to say, hey, if in times of need sugar was to go away, we can use this thing called a ketone body. And the brain loves ketone bodies more than any other cell in your body. So if you can just do this, fast, no sugar, at all. Nothing that even turns into sugar. No fruits, no wheat, no corn, no rice, no soy, no oats, no potatoes. Oh my God, well then you're saying no to everything. No. Vegetables, on play. Greens, even better. Proteins that are clean, sure. Fish, chicken, turkey, eggs. Plant fats, avocados, walnuts, pistachios, almond oils, almond, coconut, all the oils that are plant sourced, not processed, not canola, not corn, not Wesson, not all that junk. And you just eat real food, okay? Fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, but keep the fruits at 3 ounces or less and berries only. What you will see over time is your brain starts to go through a ketotic shift. The benefits of ketosis include the following: less inflammation, more energy production, improved brain health, much more focused mental sharpness, and watch this, autophagy. Well, what does that mean? Self-eating of disease. So the brain can actually clean itself out. Intermittent fasting is by far the best way to encourage autophagy. What it means is you just start skipping meals every day. Skip a breakfast every day. Skip a lunch every day. The best is to do what's called a 16-8, which if you know anything about this means you need to fast for 16 hours and eat for 8. And the best way to do that is to just skip breakfast and have lunch and dinner. It's that easy. Multi-day fast can also help to significantly clean your brain. You'd be amazed how many patients I have who say, like day 1, it was easy. Day 2, I just wanted to sleep all day. Day 3, it was like I was being rebirthed. Like it was like everything was coming out of me. But day 4, whoa, where did this come from? My productivity's up. My activity's up. I don't know if you guys know this or not. A lot of the current sort of startup companies, Silicon Valley companies, they're starting to implement fasting for their employees. You know why? They're seeing all kinds of stuff. They're coming up with new ideas and they're more productive. Google it if you want to. DuckDuckGo it. I don't care. Do whatever you need to look it up. Just type in Silicon Valley and fasting. You'll see what I mean. Companies are literally starting to tell their employees, hey, on Monday, you can't eat. Can you imagine that? There's no eating on Monday at work today. Why? Well, because we're more productive when we don't eat. Really? Go figure. Got to get your toxins out. Listen, I use this a lot with patients. There's actually nerve detoxes, a brain cleanse. Okay, I'm not talking about going to Whole Foods on aisle 6 and saying, hey, $9 an hour wellness expert. Sorry. Hey, wellness expert, where's the brain detox? Well, we have a kidney cleanse for 50% off today. That'll clean you out. No. Get the zonulin down, get the occludin down, get the mercury out, get the toxins out, get the sludge out, all right? There are brain cleansers. Glutamine is a phenomenal brain cleanser. So is N-acetylcysteine. Those two work together. And I like to use what are called zeolites. Now, I'm going to open up a can of worm by saying the word zeolites. You got to be really careful about zeolites. If you buy a cheap one, they're going to have a lot of heavy metals in them because zeolites attract metals. So if you buy that $15 zeolite from zeolite.com or wherever, and you're like, well, that says zeolites, and he said to get it, it's only $9. No. How you know it's a good zeolite? They should be $70, $80, $90 a bottle. And I know what you guys do, right? You go, well, Dr. Ernst, your product is $75, and this one's $10. So I'm going to use that one because it says it's the same thing. That's like using 87 fuel in your car when it says 95 required. Well, it's gas. It's just cheaper, so it'll work. I mean, yes, but you're destroying the engine. Zeolites are like magnets. They grab all the crud and they pull it right out of your body. So we can do it with your brain. So there you go. We need to improve your gut health. We need to improve your diet. We need to detox. We need to stop eating wheat, corn, rice, soy, dairy, oats, and potatoes. And we just need to give your body time and it'll heal by itself. So that is how we solve a leaky brain. And when you do that, no more brain fog, no more dizziness, no more irritability, anxiety, depression, you name it. But join me, please join me next Saturday, the 5th of December, 10 a.m., so I can customize a plan for you right to your doorstep through a computer. It's totally free, 704-906-2094. Hey, it's the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. Please join us next week, not only just for the webinar, but for all the series that we do. AskDrErnst.com is your handle, and I'll see you guys next week. Adios. Bye-bye.